You are the light of the world. My name is Laura Uplinger. I am from Brazil and from the US. I have been working for the last 40-some years on the importance of the inner life of a pregnant woman. And I got that gift, that understanding, from Master Omraam Mikhaël Aïvanhov. I was just 22 when I learned about this extraordinary power of a pregnant woman's imagination. And it's interesting because at that time it was anti-science. They believed in genetic determinism. And Omraam would tell us, no, there's something beyond genetics. Later, science got epigenetics. So it's fascinating what they're finding out day by day on the field of prenatal psychology. But then Initiatic science had it all together all right, but for millennia, ancient Egypt and India and China, they knew all of it. So once we know the importance of prenatal life, comes daily life for a pregnant woman. And what can we give her? So I chose today to read a chapter from the Philosopher's Stone. It's an extraordinary book. And you'll see how insolent this chapter is. It's chapter 6. You are the light of the world. Come with me.
Words from within. Welcome to Omraam World.
And he starts in an extraordinary way to take us to another level, another realm of understanding. Never accept materialist philosophy of facts, which encourages the majority to say that's how things are, that's the situation. It's perfectly clear and obvious, nothing can be done about it. And you must also reject all the rationalizations and logical arguments you use to attribute natural causes to your weaknesses and thus justify them. That's how I am. It's my nature. And you can't fight nature. Likewise, if an illness shows itself and tries to gain a foothold in you, try to resist it. Even if you're already ill, try to maintain the notion that you're healthy. For even in a body that's sick, there are always a few healthy cells that can save the others. If every healthy cell succeeds in rallying a few sick cells to its credo, your whole body will gradually recover. On the other hand, if the last remaining healthy cells adopt the point of view of their sick neighbors, you've had it. All it takes is for at least one healthy atom in your body to convince the others by assuring them and demonstrating to them that anything is possible, even the impossible. By strength of spirit, then refuse to accept all evidence of illness or weakness or difficult situation of failure. With this attitude, you will save at least one atom whose influence will eventually win over all the others. Those who do not grasp this truth or who refuse to put it into practice will always be prey to weaknesses, limitation, and illness. Magic, which is a science of the power of the spirit, always looks beyond certain evidence. When a white mage is ill, they say, "My body is ill," it is true, but I am a son of God, a divine spark, and as much as can be, neither ill, nor extinguished, nor weak. And this belief places them above their illnesses. They identify not with their body, but with their spirit, which lives in the light and in eternity. So take the decision to introduce this truth in your life, even if it seems impossible at first. Human beings now cling so habitually to what they call evidence. Some say, "I'm ill, you can see for yourself, and no one can tell me otherwise." But what they don't know is that by affirming their illness, they reinforce it. Yes, they are ill, but the way they admit it takes away from their ability to react. Although the illness only affects one part of their body, they identify with it and allow it to occupy their whole mind. As for people to think it's good to go around predicting disasters based on their observations of other people's mistakes and anomalies, their attitude is contributing to any disasters that do occur. They can then say, "I told you so." Knowing the facts, they would have been better advised to find ways of remedying the situation, for there are always solutions. And even if they are not sufficient to correct everything, they can at least prevent the worst. So try to imprint this truth on your mind, that the Spirit can triumph over everything. Believe me, you must not surrender in the face of evidence, for to surrender is to limit yourself. Those who succumb in the face of evidence make slaves of themselves, whereas those who bring forward the powers of the Spirit in all circumstances exercise their thinking, struggle, progress, and become master of all situations. And eventually, one after the other, the obstacles fall away. When you decide to apply the law of preeminence of the Spirit in your life, the first changes you create are in the realm of thought. These changes then influence the realm of feelings, sensations, and emotions, where gradually everything becomes lighter and more fluid. And finally, these changes materialize on the physical plane, where things become clear and organized. We will not live on earth or in our physical body for all eternity. This is why, in our psychic and spiritual life, we must never bow to the evidence the physical world presents us with. Rather, we must always seek for the Spirit to triumph. Matter, with all the obstacle it presents, is given to us as a stimulus for the Spirit. And by matter, I mean not only the physical world, but also the psychic world, which is also matter. Matter that is less opaque than the physical worlds, but matter all the same. So you must no longer say, "There's nothing I can do. It's plain to see. There's this and I feel that." By stating what is real, you think it proves you right, since it is real. But there are other realities that elude you. You capitulate when faced with material, objective reality. But if you know how to act, there's another reality, equally evident, that will have the final word, divine reality. I am opening a door for you to the light. I am showing you the path to powers you can put to work in your inner struggles. Commit yourself to this new direction, and gradually, with time, you will triumph. If you have understood me properly, you will realize that it only remains for you to go forward, and no one will be able to stop you. A long time ago, the Master Aïvanhov gave us this formula: God is light within me, the angels are warmth, human beings are kindness. To be said 3 times. Then, God is light within me, my spirit is warmth, and I am kindness. Also to be said 3 times. These formulas are affirmations. I am kindness. Yes, even a wicked person will eventually become good if he repeats these words with conviction and with the sincere wish to improve. These formulas from Master Aïvanhov recall certain sayings from Jesus, which are also powerful affirmations. The Father and I are one. My Father is still working, and I also am working. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the light of the world. When Jesus said, I am the light of the world, he is identifying with the sun. Indeed, what is the light of the world, if not the sun, the visible, dazzling image of the divinity? And when we identify, it means we recognize we're something other than what is revealed by our physical appearance, that we possess another nature, that we are made of another quintessence, which we decided to let take our place. For Jesus to have been able to say, I am the light of the world, and to have found this light in himself and risen within to meet it, he must have succeeded in identifying with the spiritual Son, the Christ. And this is true love, the irresistible force which drives people to seek what is purest and most divine in themselves, and, when they have found it, to merge with this reality. Yes, this attraction is what love is. God has placed a spark within the soul of human beings, creating the need for them to find Him again and to become one with Him. Humans will not know or understand anything of God unless they feel Him within themselves as light, power, love and light. True revelation is found in the sensation and the certainty that the Lord is within us and we are fused with Him, that there is no separation between Him and us. All these phrases Jesus said represent the goal we must also attain if you are to become true sons and daughters of God. There's no point in claiming to be a Christian, a disciple of Christ, if we do not work to realize what Jesus Himself realized and was able to claim, my Father is still working and I am also working. The Father and I are one. I am the resurrection and life. I am the light of the world. It's not me telling you this, it's Jesus. But have you read the Gospels properly? Yes, you are the salt of the earth, asserted Jesus to the crowd following Him on the mountain, and you are the light of the world. What He said to them was also said for us. Light is the celestial fire, and salt is the manifestation of this light. If from this spark your spirit, which lives within you, you succeed little by little in illuminating your whole being, not only you will become the salt that vitalizes the earth and gives its flavor, but you will possess the same powers that bring the same blessings as the light. Of course, anyone can claim, I am the light of the world, but if you have not already done the work that gives you the right to say such a phrase, you will expose yourself to great dangers, and people will be forced to lock you up somewhere. Oh yes, many people who are so-called mad doubtless possess an intuition of their own true divine nature, but it is not enough to have this intuition and advertise it. You must also seek to make it a reality, and meanwhile remain humble and work. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. These truths represent the highest ideal one can attain. Never doubt them, but at the same time make sure you adapt them to your life on earth, to your human condition. Whatever your spiritual ideal, never forget that you are part of the physical world. It is all very well to reject the evidence-based materialist philosophy, but you must also bear in mind that you live on a physical plane. Yes, because the physical plane opposes and resists us. It persists in contradicting us and has brought down many great, powerful, formidable men and women. The physical plane doesn't give up easily. It obeys only when we attack. When we attack it with powerful blows, with means as physical as its own, since physical force, it's all it understands. This is how it reasons. What you say about the power of the Spirit is very true, but this has nothing to do with my world. Only the powers of matter can affect me. We are forced to admit that the physical plane knows and recognizes only our physical body. That is to say, what we can do with the muscles of our arms and legs or with tools and machines. It isn't impressed with our psychological and spiritual faculties, so we must reconcile the realities of the physical plane with the assertion that we can reject material evidence and subscribe to the school of true force, the school of light, the school of the Spirit, since spirit and matter coexist. And it is precisely this that Christians stubbornly reject in their conception of Jesus. Of course, Jesus declared himself to be not only the light of the world, but also the living bread that came down from heaven, and the way and the truth and the life. And he also said, I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved. Yet he was unable to escape the demands of the physical plane. He got hungry, thirsty, and tired, and he was vulnerable, as shown in certain passages of the Gospels, which mention that he had to flee to escape the Pharisees, who wanted to stone him. And when the end came, he felt all the agony of death. Jesus is able to serve as much as an example for us, precisely because he was made of matter and spirit, as we are, and he knew how to reconcile the two. If he had been the Son of God in the sense that Christians understand it, in other words, God himself, the second person of the Trinity, the Christ, and not a human being, how would we be able to take him as our model? His essence would be different than ours. Jesus also said, "Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect," in order to teach us not to yield in the face of what we call weakness. But now it is up to us in our own lives not to confuse the world of matter and the world of spirit, to give each its own place while always giving preeminence to the Spirit, to the light. Try therefore to acquire a taste for working with the light, not only sunlight, but also that invisible light which permeates the whole of creation. For light alone is capable of re-establishing order within us, of making all our cells vibrate in harmony, and of restoring our health. But who thinks of light as being the most powerful remedy? It may not be the quickest, but its effects are permanent. More than anything else in your life, think of the light, for its vibrations are so extremely subtle that it brings us close to the world of spirit. For at least a few minutes each day, think only of the light and nothing else. It will be like a beam of pure, powerful particles passing through you to reach all creatures on earth and awaken their divine nature. Concentration on light is the true salvation, because God is light. When you think of light, you link yourself to Him. When Jesus said, "I am the light of the world," this meant the Father is in me and I am in the Father. But He also told us, "You are the light of the world." It is worth reflecting on this capacity for identification that's been given to us. Physically, we have a certain appearance which allows others to recognize us. There is no mistaking certain physical forms. But inwardly, we have the ability to identify with everything that exists. And this is what we actually do, more or less unconsciously, throughout the day. Something in us never ceases to identify by imitation with what we touch, see, and here. So it pays to be vigilant. Every day we must stop for a few moments and ask ourselves who and what we are identifying with, because the people and things we identify with are what we will become sooner or later. And since Jesus said, "You are the light of the world," what we must identify with is light, so that one day we will really become light. And this is the end of this 6th chapter on the Philosopher's Stone. Imagine how pregnant women, understanding this, imagine their pregnancy, all the pathways they can discover to bring on earth human beings who will be friendly with life.